Okay. We in here. We in here. All right. I'm gonna take my time on this one because I'm actually waiting for an appointment. I done drove all the way up here and got my time incorrect. So I'm waiting for this appointment. Well, while I'm waiting for this appointment, I thought I'd go ahead and you know, be productive, make some content, but some productive content. So I don't have any kids. And, I do plan on it one day. But and I honestly mean this when I say this, because me personally, I would never want to put a child in a, let's go back some more. I grew up in a loving family, but even and also to not only a loving family, but a family that also, like, the culture and society and the collective at a time was also putting up as like the perfect image of a family. And even with all that, and shout out to my parents because they did the best they could, but even with all that so-called perfection and all that love and stuff, there were still many errors that happened in my childhood that still had me to think, even with all this perfection, even with all this love, and my experience seems to be different from other people's experience and all that good stuff. There are still many problems that I felt that because I personally believe that what you don't figure out and what you don't handle with yourself, it goes to your kids. And there's science to prove that. I forgot what the actual term is for that. But, the experience that you have, the traumas, all that stuff, things that you go through, if you don't know how to process that within yourself and know how to heal and move forward through that, you're just going to put that on your child. And I never wanted to do that. And at first, when, living life, I always just think, I'm perfect. It ain't not necessarily that I'm perfect, but that I was probably more conscious than other people, and not in like a woke way, but just like in an aware way of just how I affect people. And even in that, living more life, I realized that there's still things I don't know shit about. You know what I mean? There's still ways in which I've hurt people unknowingly, and me going through a childhood of that, of just a lot of unawareness. I never would want to put that on my child. I never would want to have them deal with something that I felt like I could have handled. It's no different to me than, like, I would not want my child to deal with poverty, because, like, why should it? Like, that if you have sex, that if just certain things happen, this child is going to grow up in this type of circumstances. And that was just my point of view. You know what I'm saying? As I've grown and learned more, I've learned that it's not always just about that aspect. And so with me, having children has been a very just like, like, this world is really like, I don't know. Like, when I think of kids, I just think of like pure innocence. And I know how important innocence is, and I know how easily innocence can be distorted. And so I always just never wanted to be be the type of person where it's like I bring you into this world, but I end up bringing, like, I've already been in relationships where I've fucked people over, did people wrong, like, and I'm not trying to move like that no more at all, you know what I'm saying? And even back then, like, my life has been very up and down, you know, angel on one shoulder, devil on the other, and me really trying to balance out these two aspects of, you know, just me. And, you know, we all do this, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like my experience has been more, yeah, that's just been my experience in life. And so having that type of experience, I never really wanted to, I've never wanted to, because I do feel like in some aspects this world has, like, it, like, you're gonna get bruised, and I think that's one thing I just need to learn about life. That's just what comes with life. You're gonna get bruised. Your environment is going to change you. Certain experiences that you have are going to change you. And I do feel like even having this conversation now, even making this video, as I'm digesting all these, you know, just going through it in my mind and just expressing this right now in the moment, yeah, I probably did have a false sense of just how life is supposed to enter into this world, because I just never wanted to mess that up. Like, I know the importance of just like a kid, what it absorbs between the ages of like 0 to 12, and how that literally makes a person. And there's a lot of things in this life that sometimes we have no control over, and that did scare me. You know what I'm saying? Just when it comes to just having kids, it did scare me that, like, I can have such a I can mean well, and still it can come out as like toxic, or it can come out as like just not what it's supposed to come out as, just because of just certain things I'm unaware of in my brain, certain things that just happen in life. You know, I'm pretty sure that people who was having kids, I mean, but again, I mean, it's a lot of things we can say, but at the same time, there's just so many variables in this. I would like my child to be born into like if I know that the world I'm in right now is very just yeesh, I would like to at least wait or see, at least, can this world change, or like can I have my kid, can I create or put my kid in an environment where I feel like it can live the life it's supposed to live, instead of just dealing with all the fuck shit. But that's life. That's what comes with just being a human. That aspect is never going to go away. That friction that we have as just humans, the parts of ourselves that, you know, we see somebody else, and, you know, some people, they don't understand them, so they judge them. Like, I just never wanted to deal with that. Like, I just never thought like an innocent child should have to deal with the unresolved, fucked up, toxic traumas of a world that seems like they just want to care more about their desires than, you know, the growth of humanity. And so, but that's just my right there with kids. That was just my little, you know, call it a rant, whatever you want to call it. So that's just my own thing with kids, right? So one thing I would say to a child, though, you know, coming into this world, I was born in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? So my childhood was a little different, or a lot different than what it is now. But it really still depends on the type of parent you are, because you can still kind of like shelter your kid and just all that good stuff. But I feel like back in the 90s, it was a time where, like, the parents had more control over what their kid is around. And that also did depend on, you know, of course, the parents, but also the environment that you're in. But I feel like kids nowadays, with so much technology, it's like it's so hard to really keep a kid in that box. You know what I'm saying? Because damn near every kid got a phone now. It wasn't like that, you know what I'm saying, when I was coming up. So, whereas back then I feel like our generation, it was more so like getting over the hang-ups and misplaced tendencies and past ways of our parents and evolving from that. I feel like now with the new generation, it's more actually getting over collective hurdles, because they're introduced now more to just the world instead of just like what these two parents are telling them. And if these two people are not even acting in the way that's updated to what they're seeing, they're really like, fuck what you talking about. Like, you going to work every day and I'm seeing a nigga who's 6 years old with $1 million on YouTube talk about toys and stuff. Like, and you want me to go to school, you want me to go, like, what? Like, what you talking about? Like, you want me to go to church? Like, we got, like, spirit, like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, with them, I feel like it's more, and our generation still dealt with the collective, but I feel like they deal with it on a greater level because of just how much they're exposed to now. You know what I'm saying? Like, does anybody even still go to church? Like, do kids even still, like, I remember back in my generation, I was kind of like you ain't even had a choice. Like, it wasn't no, like, you know, even accepting that you might be having other thoughts about different other religions or something. It was just straight, like, whatever the family on, that's what we all on. And so, like, I feel like my generation and generations before that, we had to break out of that. Whereas, like, because we already broke out of that, now the new generation is just dealing more with the collective mindset of everything. You know what I'm saying? How the whole world feels about things. So what I would tell a kid, right? Like, you know what? Any time period. I would tell them that you are here to expand. You are here to break the limits of yourself and the people before you, everybody before you. I would tell them to choose, because as we're kids and as we're in our teenage years and as we're young, you know, we're absorbing so much. So I would say choose wisely what you choose to take with you into your future. I would tell the young, any generation from, I don't give a fuck if you year 90s to 3000, you are the update. You know, we get these new iPhones, and I really believe that, like, you know, each generation is almost like a phone generation, where, like, you know, one generation might be the iPhone 10, the next generation is like the iPhone 20. I feel like with every new generation, it gets better and better. Well, these iPhones is no whole nother story, but y'all get the picture. You know, as we, you know, these, even you see it in technology, as we, you know, get further and further along, we have these new, you know, we understand more. You know, I remember learning in school, they said two positive charges always repel. Just read an article today where they found studies where it is possible for two charged particles to actually attract one another. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we always just learning and just growing. And so I feel like that also translates to the kids. You're saying, as, you know, more we get into the generation, the more evolved they're going to become. And so that would be another thing I tell them. Recognize that. Know that's what you are. Know that you have a responsibility to yourself and this planet, but to you first. Because even though we're all in a collective, we still are all in our own independent journeys. I would say only sacrifice Sacrifice only to things that align with your mission and your goals. Meaning, to sacrifice your time doing things and with people who are not going to serve you is a worse sacrifice than you sacrificing your time and energy being productive with yourself. And sometimes that's going to come with loneliness. Sometimes you're going to have to tell people no. Sometimes you might see a whole bunch of people hanging out, look like they doing it up, all that good stuff, and you're going to have to, say that for another day. I would say try to surround yourself with like-minded individuals, and not just with desires. Not y'all all got the same desires. Y'all all like having sex with women. Y'all all just like money. No, like, what is your heart desire? What do you like to do? What do you see? Where do you see your life going? What do you feel like you're already out in the world? Do you see like, oh, I could see myself doing that for the rest of my life? You know what I'm saying? Like, try to surround yourself, even if you really fully might not know what it is, you're around people who are on that journey also, not just people who are just like, just not on the same course as you. If I'm heading to Pittsburgh, but I'm following a nigga who goddamn headed to Chicago, where you gonna end up at? And you can recognize that just by people's movements, just by people's decisions in life, conversations, mindset, all that good stuff. I will also tell them that your parents did the best they could with the information that they had at the moment. I will tell them that even though cars might be flying in your future, and you seeing all these advancements, that's only because the groundwork was put there, the foundation was put there. And at that time, the technology and all that stuff wasn't around, so this is what was made available. Same thing like your parents. They had the information that they knew at the time, and that's what it was. I would also tell them that too, to me, a lot of times, you are your parents' heart desire. A lot of times I feel like we get so wrapped up and so exhausted with this world that we can forget ourselves. You end up being a secretary, you was really supposed to be a doctor, or like just whatever. Like you really was supposed to be a rock star, you really became a teacher. You was really supposed to be in a band, you really became a dentist. Like, I feel like when that happens and then you have a kid, your kid now has it still holds your dream. Like, it still holds the aspect of you that was like, man, I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm gonna be what I came here to be. But life happens, heartbreak, death, all types of just wild shit that can deter you from that. And so I would really not stress it, but I would really just let them know that that's just sometimes what the world can end up doing to some people. You can just end up just forgetting what you really came here to do, and you're just more running off of fight, flight, fornicate, survival. I would tell them that what you do affects somebody else, and show them examples of that off the gate. Negative and positive. How when you said something nice to somebody, you help somebody, you see how that played out? Okay, now let me show you what happens when you do something negative. You see how that play out? And that it's all possible, it's all real. Everything is real and not real at the same time. You are in the world of, if you can dream it, then you can achieve it. You are in the world of physical imagination. And And even though it might take a minute, sometimes you feel like, it's taking a long time for you to head to a goal or get to something that you want to receive, it's coming. There's certain lessons that, this life in this world that you're in is trying to show you. I'm not even gonna say no God. I'm gonna let them come up with that. But you are in a collective, and there are greater aspects to this collective. And even though I, might be your parent, or you might, hold this person as your mentor, or just whatever, or your parent or whatever, you can call them parents, or there is a higher lineage that is also teaching you and showing you things. Break it down to him like Mufasa. I'm everywhere. I'm in the stars, I'm in the trees, I'm in the sky. All right, y'all. That's it. Y'all be easy. Peace.